Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today we're going to have an interesting discussion. So I seen this young lady hopped on social media and she said this. Unfortunately, white men have been way better professional mentors to me than black men or black women, passing me the bag and giving me the keys. Then she went on to say, black women in professional settings always want to little sis you. I am smarter than you. Okay. Anyways. Now, this is not the first time I've heard this sentiment, but as a student of history, we're going to break it down, historically. We're going to go into the colonial origins of these things. But before we get into that, let's take a look at some of the reactions on social media. This lady said, "This is not my experience at all. It's always been black women for me. I wish others had the same experience." This person said, "All I'm hearing is that your mama and your daddy were not able to teach you anything and you had to rely on outside sources. I'm trying to see how anyone should or would be jealous of that. My parents are educated." Now, that's another side of the conversation too, right? Now, in my instance, I know that I'm more blessed than most individuals because I work in the family business and I've been working in the family business since I was 17. I never had to really go into corporate America because thankfully for me, my father established his own independent enterprise that he could integrate me into. So my mentor was the black man. My role model was the black man. I never had to clock in for the white man a single day in my life. But this is not the first time that I've heard this sentiment. And unfortunately for that young lady, she might not understand the historical context behind that, right? She's not the first woman, the first black woman. This has been happening since the colonial period, since the days of the European colonies. And we're going to get into that later on in this video. Now, let's continue. This brother said, "In both military as well as civilian life, black women mostly and black men second have been my greatest mentors. They always told me I would listen more than I would talk, so they had no problem mentoring me." This lady said, "It's because they do not perceive you as a threat, which honestly is a diss. Use it and move on. Don't make it into something that it's not, because as someone whose essence always gets treated as a threat and intimidates people regardless, they'll eat you alive if oppositional." Now, this lady made an excellent point. The reason why they're so open and their generosity towards you is for a variety of reasons. Number one, you are not seen as a threat to the currently established power structure. You will never overturn the currently established power structure. You will simply be integrated into it at best. And like I said before, when you look throughout history, especially during the colonial period, there has always been black women who were integrated into the power structure. Those women were never seen as a threat because they were seen as assets to the colonial system. They were seen as assets to the currently established power structure. The only black women who were seen as a threat were the ones who escaped from bondage, ran away from bondage, and established independent communities alongside their black men, in the mountains and in the woods. Those women were hunted down and killed right alongside the black men. But the black women that were taken in as mistresses, as mammies and wives, they were never killed. They were never harmed because they were assets to the power structure. They were taken in and integrated into the power structure. And I'm pretty sure if you spoke to a black woman, who was a mistress back in the day, back in 1776, she'll probably tell you the same thing. "Oh man, the white man is a great mentor, man. He taught me so much about the plantation economy." Anyway, let's continue. This person said, "Keep doing your dance." Yeah, keep doing your dance. And others continue. This person said, "I hate to agree with this, but this is true. I work with nothing but white folks at this law firm. I've already gotten 3 raises, and it hasn't even been a year since I worked there. They've given me a lot of insight." This person said, "They offer resources like it's their duty." Now, once again, this lady's doing the same thing as the other one. She is casting this image of generosity onto the entire collective simply due to her personal interactions with a few individuals. Now, keep in mind, this lady said they offer resources like it's their duty. The other lady said they passing me the bag and giving me the keys. But the reality of black folks in corporate America is where are these bags at? Where are the keys that you're talking about? Where are the bags that you're talking about? I don't see any power being established. All I see is people being cogs in a machine, right? Being assets to the currently established power structure. I don't see any massive enterprises being built from all this expertise and opportunity they're passing down. So that's why I say, what are we really talking about? And then on top of that, you have to understand your personal experience doesn't erase the global reality that our people are currently forced to endure. Because while you're battling for crumbs in corporate America, these same men that you're talking about, these same men that you're praising and glorifying are the architects of policies and systems that sabotage and undermine entire black nations that are filled with millions of black women. Millions of black women just like you who are suffering because of the same geopolitical objectives that these same men have been pushing for centuries. You claim that these men are so generous. You claim that these men are just opening the doors for opportunity. But how come when there's a government or an administration that doesn't step in line with their interests, they do everything in their power to sabotage or undermine the regime? They do everything in their power to finance terrorism to destabilize the region. So when these same men go around undermining and sabotaging our nations as a group, right? Because she's looking at it from an individual perspective, right? I'm an individual and these individuals are nice to me. But when they operate as a group against your group, right? How come they don't have the same generosity for the women of your collective group? So when you talk about how they're opening doors for you in corporate America and they're passing you the bag and giving you the keys, that's not generosity. That's strategy, because they know if they throw a few crumbs your way, they can maintain the illusion of progress while maintaining the currently established power structure, making sure the currently established power structure is never overturned while maintaining the illusion of progress by integrating a few individuals into the collective. Meanwhile, as a group, black women as a group around the world as a group are suffering as a group. And I always give the example, right? When the military government in Niger had taken power in the government and the entire European Union had sanctioned the government, right, where food and medicine wasn't even allowed to come into the country, and you had black women dying in Niger, right? How come those same men that you're talking about who open the doors and give you the keys, how come they put crippling sanctions on Niger, which threatened the livelihood of black women in Niger, right? You had black women in Niger who were street vendors who could not go about their daily activities because of these sanctions. But these same men you're glorifying who open the doors and give you the keys are shutting doors and taking away the keys from the black women in black nations. So like I say, man, you got to be more intelligent and understand the world that you live in, right? Your personal experiences does not erase the current global reality. Now, let's continue. This lady said, black women are hit or miss, but white men will definitely help and lift you up more than white women or black men. This lady said, yeah, let's be honest. White men and white women will put you on so much game in the corporate world, especially when you're a hard worker that's eager to learn more. This lady said, black people sometimes have a crab in the barrel mentality, but you're steering yourself wrong to believe that white people really have your back. Now, this lady came with some wisdom, round of applause for her. Goddamn, man. Anyway, let's continue. This person said, people are more willing to help you when they don't see you as an equal or deem you as competition. This person said, this is crazy. I've had so many incredibly educated black men and women that have taught me so much in my life. If you learn better from white professionals, that's fine. But to bring down your own race to uplift them, that is wild. Y'all be easy though. Then she went on to say, studying accounting in a PWI has been so difficult. I feel alienated in my classes because I'm the only black girl. Meanwhile, my mom's case manager, who's a black man and a licensed CPA, sat here and gave me the most motivational words. He gave me props and offered to help me with anything. Shout out to this sister right here. Let's continue. This brother said, they've been doing this since slavery. Then he went on to say at the bottom, white men have been mentoring black women since slavery. That's where whole culture was created. Most slave owners had a black mistress or a mammy. Now we're going to get into that very shortly. Matter of fact, we can get into it right now, right? I'm going to show her that what she's talking about is nothing new. There's always been black women who are integrated into the so-called system, who are seen as assets, or who are deemed as acceptable to bring into the fold, right? Now, these individual experiences had no effect on the collective, right? Our people were still in bondage. Our people were still suffering. Our people were still being undermined and sabotaged at every single turn. Just because there was a few black women who, a few white men had good relations with, that did not change anything in terms of our collective situation. So it doesn't matter how many raises you get. It don't matter how many promotions you get. That does not change the collective reality of our people on this planet. It has never changed. It doesn't matter how many mixed race children you create. Y'all done created whole entire mixed race civilizations. It didn't even have no effect on our collective situation as a people. But anyways, let's get into it. We're going to get into a few case studies of black women through the colonial period up until now who, had good mentors, good white mentors, and that were integrated into the fold. But in the grand scheme of things, it had no effect on our collective reality. Let's get into it. The first case study, a lady by the name of Anne Pepin, the richest and most celebrated woman on the West African island of Gorée in French Senegal. She was born to a European man and an African woman, right? So her mother got with a white man, her mother got with a mentor and had her. She was born into the Afro-European class known as habitants. In 1786, she entered a relationship with the governor, Stanislas de Boufflers, at the same time that he moved the capital of Senegal from St. Lutz to Gorée. Pepin held the designation of Signore, a prestigious social and economic designation for women who formed partnerships with European men and as such wielded great power. So this woman right here, right, I believe in the 1700s, right, she had, good white mentors in her life. She was integrated into the power structure, right? She was married to the governor. She had a relationship with the colonial governor, right? And that's another thing these women in corporate America don't talk about. They talk about, oh man, the white man, he's such a great mentor. They don't talk about how the white man was smashing in the broom closet. We seen y'all watching Scandal. We know why you love watching Scandal. Yeah, because that shit is the reality in corporate America. That's the reality for a lot of y'all in corporate America. Y'all began smashing the broom closet on lunch break, but y'all talking about the white man is the great mentor. Y'all don't talk about how, never mind. Let's continue. Anne Pepin belonged to the leading figures of the Signore community on Gorée Island in Senegal, which played an important part in the French slave trade. Her brother built his home, the now famous Maison d'Esclaves, for the family slave trade business on the island. While no record exists that show that Anne or her brother were involved directly with the slave trade, they provided the logistical and material support for the trade on the island. So like I said, women like this were brought into the fold because they had no intention of overturning the system. They were simply going to function as valuable assets to the system, right? So when you talk about, oh man, the white man is the great mentor, the white man opening doors, you have to understand, why is he opening doors for you? Why is he so generous with you, right? Because throughout history, there were black women who were rebellious. What happened to the rebellious black women? They were hanged, they were killed, they were shot. And what happened to the women that were able to be integrated into the system? They were brought into the fold, right? So you have to understand, your personal interactions does not change the collective reality. Now let's continue. Next case study. Anne J. Kinsley was a West African from Senegal who was enslaved and sold in Cuba. And then in Cuba, she was purchased as a wife by the plantation owner and slave trader, Zephaniah Kinsley. After his death, she became a planter and slave owner in her own right as a free black woman in the early 19th century Florida. Now, this case, another black woman with a white mentor, right? So like I told you, these things are not new. These men integrating our women into their system is not new, right? The only difference is that young lady, unfortunately, does not know her history, and she doesn't understand the geopolitical reality of which that she is currently living. Because the reality is, the same men that she's praising for the generosity, they would never be in support of extending that same generosity towards black women as a collective, because doing so would undermine their position as a collective, right? In order to uplift black women as a collective, they would have to go beyond these personal interactions. They would have to undermine themselves as a collective, right? But they would never do that. So instead, what they do is they, integrate a few minorities into their system, throw them a few crumbs and trinkets here and there to maintain the illusion of inclusion and integration and progress. You see, everything is working well with the system. We have a black female vice president at the company. You see, everything is working amazing. Meanwhile, black women across the world are suffering due to the geopolitical objectives of these governments that are controlled by white men. The same white men you're talking about that are so generous and giving and, giving out their resources. But how come they're starving black women across the world of the resources at the same time? You have to open your damn mind and open a damn book. You know what I mean? God damn. Stop, go beyond the personal interactions. Understand that you are part of a collective. You are part of a group. You're not an individual. You don't stand alone. You are not the representative for the entire collective. Just because the white man gave you a job does not negate the fact that it's millions of black women that are living on like $5 a day, working in American factories for like 75 cents an hour. Bro, you have to be able to look outside of yourself, right? If these men love black women so much, how come whenever there's a black man who rises to power, who becomes a leader, a head of state, who decides that the platform of his government is to uplift the men and women of his nation, how come these same men that you're talking about who are so generous and loving and giving, how come they come in with the economic hitmen? How come they come and destabilize the country with terrorist insurgents? How come they come in and put sanctions on his government? If you claim these men are so generous because they give you a few trinkets, give you a few crumbs, how come they actively undermine the livelihood of millions of black women around the world? And even this lady, for example, that we just spoke about, Anna Kinsley, right, who was married to a white planter, and then she became a plantation owner in her own right. Just the fact that this one black woman became a plantation owner, did that change the reality of the millions of black women who were living in bondage in the 1800s? No, it did not. And that goes to show, just because they allow a few individuals to be integrated into the collective, to be integrated into the power structure, they have no intention of uplifting the collective of black women or the collective of black people as a whole. And you have to understand the current reality of which you are living. Now let's continue. Let's continue talking about Miss Anna J. Kinsley. Anna J managed a large and successful planting operation. After gaining freedom, she was given a Spanish land grant for 5 acres and owned 12 slaves. After defending their property against invading Americans, she was awarded a land grant of 350 acres by the Spanish government. So you see, this is a black woman who rose from slavery, bondage, married a white man, then owned hundreds of acres. You know what I mean? But guess what? Millions of black women were still in bondage, suffering, dying, and that didn't change the reality of our people as a collective. God damn. But I guarantee Anna J. Kinsley would have probably said the same thing. Man, the white man is a great mentor. Man, the white man opened doors. Man, the white man gave me 350 acres and taught me the business. Let's continue. After the United States took control of Florida and American discriminatory laws threatened the multiracial Kinsley family, most of them moved to Haiti. Kinsley died soon after, and Anna returned to Florida to dispute her husband's white relatives who were contesting Kinsley's will. They sought to exclude Anna and her children from their inheritance. The court honored a treaty between the United States and Spain, and Anna was successful in the court case despite a political climate hostile towards blacks. She settled in the Arlington neighborhood of Jacksonville. Now, let's talk about Zephaniah Kinsley. This is the white mentor in her life, right? We talk about Anna J. Kinsley. That's who we spoke about. Now we're going to talk about Zephaniah Kinsley, the white mentor, right? Zephaniah Kinsley Jr. was an English-born planter, merchant, and slave trader who moved as a child with his family to the province of South Carolina and enjoyed a successful mercantile career. He built 4 plantations in the Spanish colony of Florida, in what is now Jacksonville, Florida. He served on the Florida Territorial Council after Florida was acquired by the United States in 1821. Now, as you can see, he held the title as a member of the Florida Territorial Council. He was a polygamous man. He had 11 children, all from black mothers. Now let's continue. Next case study, Fenda Lawrence, black woman from the 18th century. Fenda Lawrence was an African slave trader who operated in the saloon town of Carr. In 1772, she visited the 13 colonies as a free black woman for both tourism and to trade. Fenda Lawrence lived in pre-colonial Gambia near the Gambia River during the mid-18th century. While there, she acted as a go-between for the British and the French traders and the local Africans. This was a position afforded to her by marriage to an Englishman. So, she had a white mentor who taught her the business, who taught her the slave trade business. Lawrence worked out of the saloon town of Carr. In 1772, she visited the 13 colonies of America as a tourist with some business interests. By this point, she had already separated from her English partner. So, as you can see, these men have no problem integrating a few individuals into the power structure because they know, like they said before, they don't see you as a threat. They see you as an asset. This is not anything new, right? And the black women who are seen as rebellious, the black women who are not seen as an asset, but who are willing to undermine and overthrow the system, those women were hunted down and killed just like the black man was. But the women who are willing to integrate themselves into the system, who are also, maybe, willing to, have sex, also, because, that was part of it too, which is still in the modern day. Y'all don't talk about that though. Y'all talk about the white man in corporate America. Y'all don't talk about how he be trying to get y'all in the bedroom though. So we have to be honest, right? You have to be honest. You can't just be, oh, the white man is a great mentor. You have to be honest that, some of y'all is breaking him off with some coochie at the same time though. That's why he's such a great mentor, because some of y'all is it's an even exchange in some cases. I'm not saying for all cases, but let's be honest. Some of y'all got some, Olivia Pope, scandal TV show type of bullshit going on in corporate America. You know what I'm saying? A lot of y'all in corporate America, y'all involved on top of debauchery with the white man. So that's the reason why the white man be giving y'all crumbs and trinkets. So let's be honest with you. Let's be honest. But anyways, like I said, we have to read books. We have to understand the geopolitical reality of which we live. We have to understand the individual does not represent the collective. Right? So just because you were given a cushy position, just because you were given a few crumbs and trinkets, does not negate the current reality of millions of your sisters around the world who are suffering due to the geopolitical objectives of the same white man you are glorifying. Anyways, man, it's your boy Neferkari. That's Celine back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash app in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace.
No. Feel like I'm 75. Know that your team be full of them traders. You know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wife, yeah, hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word and it's bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Back in my city they loving me. Standing alone, I'm 100 deep. Enemy plotting and still in reach. They try to make sure that we underneath. Trying to make sure that we never make it. Coming for power, come get acquainted. Coming for everything that I wanted. Feeling like Drake, but I really wrote it. Feeling like Kendrick, I'm checking names. Gotta roll up while I go insane. Got so much stress, I've been gated weight. Stuffing these racks in this Louis case. One thing for certain, I'm about to check. Keep it 100 and nothing less. Stick with the family since day one. Had to stay down till my day come. Had to stay down, but I'm never patient. Hop on the mic and I'm motivated. Hop on the mic and I drop a classic. Haters can't see me, they copping glasses. Back in the studio making magic. Got a new tape and it's in production. Back on my business, I got a budget. Staying low key when I'm out in public. Feel like I'm 75. None of your team be full of them traders, you know that can never be mine. I'm grabbing a thought when I drive. I'm back in my zone and we on. She said that she ready to come be my wifey and hoping I don't do her wrong. I gave her my word in this bond. I'm whipping the best like a lamb. I mean no chicken and lamb. Accustomed to call me the man. I never be up on the gram. I'm keeping that way undercover. She want me to tell her I love her. I told her I'm breaking the rules. I told her we making the news. Making it new, making it new.